What's up, YouTube? It's the Console Samurai, and we're hearing more from Nintendo and some of the products that they're coming out with. To start off with, we've heard about a new patent, and this patent is a little more difficult to figure out where Nintendo might be going with it, but it is kind of interesting. The third patent is for a new controller, a small elliptical-shaped controller with a capacitive touchscreen across its entire surface, similar to the screen of a smartphone. But unlike a smartphone, it will have two thumbsticks, two shoulder buttons, one on each side obviously, and a card slot at the bottom, which I find a little weird, but I look forward to seeing how that expands, what expansions that comes with in some way. Now, I do really like the fact that there's thumbsticks on it because I do play a lot of games on my smartphone, and sometimes it just doesn't register correctly, where you're trying to touch a button on the touchscreen, it just doesn't work. It's really one of the only downfalls to two of the downfalls to a smartphone. The other one being the screen shatters and then it's useless. But it is interesting. I look forward to seeing what it becomes. But based on the diagram that I saw in the article, which I actually put in the link in the description down below, it looks very small, like really small. And maybe it's because I actually have pretty big hands, so maybe that's why it looks so small to me, because it does look a little too small to be of any use. But this is only a rough draft. It may come out in a much bigger version, and it does seem to be the logical evolution of both the Wii U gamepad and the cell phone, as far as combining the two. And we do know that Nintendo is looking very much toward the future with mobile and smartphone gaming. Not as much as Konami, but still, they do put a lot of faith into that. Now, to be honest, this could all amount to nothing. This could just be something Nintendo developed and then decided, well, we don't really have a use for it right now, but we might come up with something later, and we don't want anyone else to use it, so let's go ahead and patent it. We may never see it, or it may be part of Project NX, and just in a way that we don't know yet. We'll have to see. Now, speaking of smartphones, Nintendo came out and they laid out a little bit more of their plan with the smartphone and Project DNA, or Dina, however you pronounce it. I think it's DNA. Unlike before, where we were led to believe that established Nintendo IPs were not going to be coming to smartphone games, it looks like they will. They are, in fact, going to come to the smartphone games. But they're not just going to be porting existing games. We are still going to get the same IPs that we're familiar with, but in new adventures, new stories, new whatever you want to call it. But we're not going to get that right away. The first game, as I mentioned in a previous video, where it's kind of more of a social app within Nintendo, is coming out not this year as we were previously expecting, but it's coming out sometime early to mid next year. So if that's something you were looking forward to, they have moved the date out, but we are going to see probably 10 of these Nintendo games by 2017. That's what Nintendo has come out and said. CEO Kimishima, I believe is his name. And the third thing that we've heard, the last little bit I have for you guys today, is that the My Nintendo program, which is obviously going to be their new loyalty program, is going to work across all Nintendo devices, as we expected, but they did actually confirm it. Any game that you buy on your smartphone, any game that you buy through their portal, basically every way that you interact with Nintendo is going to earn you points, and it's going to earn you credit. But we don't know what the points are going to be for. We don't know what the credit is going to be for. We don't know how it's going to work with interacting with the new Nintendo theme park that is going to be Universal Studios. We don't really know any of this stuff, but they are coming out and they're giving us very, very basic information. Not as much as we'd like, but we are getting little bits and pieces here and there. But tell me what you think. What do you think about this new controller? Do you think that this could actually amount to anything? Or do you think this is just going to be something like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, we're never going to see it ever again because there'll never be a practical use for it? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Once again, I am the Console Samurai, and I'll see you around.